Hey people, injured here, 1v1 Catachan Fortress, blue side. It's Zensai, plays a Warboss melee commander that walks through objects, very good offense, disruption and support from the front lines. And off on the red side, it's Lieutenant Ekul, plays a Warp Spider Exarch, teleporting commander that fights range combat, great for capping and harassing with awesome control abilities also. Catachan Fortress then. Not seen much of this map, but it's not bloody Calderis Refinery, so I'm happy about that, or Greentooth Gorge. Especially Calderis just sucks the life out of me. So anyone out there wanting to get their 1v1 replay casted, make sure it's good first of all, and try and use a map that's not Calderis. I think I casted a game on Catachan Fortress ages and ages ago. It looks decently put together from what I can see. You have no natural VPs running northwest to southeast. Barely anyone plays it, so I assume there's some kind of problem with it. There is, I have noticed, loads of walls around this northeast player's natural power here. So that's a lot of shot blockers which don't seem to be present on this power. That's not necessarily unbalanced, since the attacking player and the defending player can use these walls. There's not a lot of cover to defend this power from. This little gap in the wall here might also funnel all the retreat units through that tiny little gap, which could lead to nasty ambushes set up in retreat. But it's kind of similar here, since you're going to be funneled through this pathway also. Sluggers versus Banshees over here. That's a very close fight early on. Warboss stepping in to tip it in their favour, but looks like these Sluggers were already in retreat. Banshees can usually get the win in that fight early on if they get a special as the Sluggers move in initially, since you lose melee skill as you are moving, and since Sluggers are so slow, Banshees are usually able to get into combat quickly and settle quickly, so the Sluggers get hit as they run in with a special, and that completely changes the fight. Wow, Warp Spider Exarch's gone down already while I was waffling about the map. As I said, it looks pretty decent visually. Center here is pretty good. We've got Warboss and double Sluggers, so perhaps double Shurikens from Ekul early on. And flanking wise, it might be pretty good for Zensai. Double setup teams, of course, you don't really want to engage them head on. And the Warboss has pretty decent flanking tools to use. Those awesome buffs of his, when you're flanking you want to do as much damage as possible. So stuff like use your choppers works out pretty good. We might see spiky armor in this guy to counteract these Banshees somewhat, and also it's just pretty decent at the moment with its health regeneration. Gives a lot of survivability to the Warboss early on. He's gone for the boss pole as to support these double Sluggers, and I think the range on it is long enough in Elite to support shooters if they're not miles away. So he's got 4 squads all wreck with burners on the way for Sluggers. Warp Spider Exarch has been repurchased and is teleporting in, trying to tie up those shooters, which is going to help him out greatly. Those double shuriken, oh, he hasn't got the double shuriken yet, but I assume he's going to, now that he knows for sure there's double Sluggers. I think these guys with their burners gives them 15% more health. That's going to be increased to a 20% health buff, it looks like, in the next update. Going to be counteracted by the fact that the Slugger in tier 2 is going to give them 5% less health, so it kind of counterbalances it that way. So a bit more fearsome early on. Ekul gets his Guardian Weapon team mobbed early on and caught out of position. Bad for him. You should never really get yourself caught out of position as an Eldar, since you have fleets and all sorts of other tricks to get in position. Banshees purchasing their aspect of strength. Of course, they have 750 hit points out the gate, which makes them really good versus Sluggers without their upgrade, and even better with it. There's the aspect going on, going to give the Executioner Spear to the Exarch in tier 2. Also gives them Warshout and Fleet of Foot. Just makes him hugely more powerful in tier 1, and he's going straight off the power, is he? No, turns away. Only has 3 models left on his squad, that might be white. Dire Avengers do have their aspect, and we're not seeing double shurikens then, are we? What is he going to get? Here comes the Warboss. He's pissed off, as you would think, and there's the Stomp. That's his starting ability, Error Effect, Disruption. Really good ability is as well. Makes it really bad news to trying to engage in early on with tier 1 melee squads, especially if he does have that spiky armor. And Sluggers going for a power bash with their burners are caught by the shuriken, and there is the second shuriken cannon weapon team from Ekul. Double gens up and a single generator up for Ekul has got a web gate up soon in the southeast VP. His Warp Spider Exarch teleporting over there and capping. There it is. So you might see entangling web to try and control these sluggers also, which I'm pretty sure is a tier 1 war gear, is it? I might be wrong about that. Heavy Gate's Death Spinner I know is tier 1, so you might get that to control this Warboss. But no sign of either yet. He's spending his power on his aspect and his guarding weapon team so far. Banshee's jumping through the foliage here. Dire Avengers are caught, unable to finish their cap, and they don't go for a grenade throw. That grenade will also help them greatly against those sluggers running in. You can kind of think of them like defensive grenades when they throw them close by in tabletop. Helps you against assaults. You need to time it and position it, of course. Sluggers are not going to risk running in, and the Warboss gets caught by the shuriken. Look at the damage as he gets close, almost goes down there. And the sluggers also getting caught. Should have just run them off. Now he's losing models. Gonna lose another. And down to 3, down to 2 models. He might lose the squad if he's not careful. What's he trying to do? Down to 1. And then retreats right at the end. What was he looking at? Something else? I'm not sure. Oh! Banshee's trying to catch stuff in retreat between those 2 walls. They're gonna take out the squad, are they? There's Odd Boys trying to save them, but it's not nearly enough to save you against a full squad of Howling Banshees in tier 1. We all know how great those ladies are at chasing retreat units. Didn't even need to chase there. So 1 squad down for Zensai. And did those yes, those guys had burners as well, so that's a blow. 15 power for those burners. Warp Spider Exarch doing his thing. There is that web gate. This allows you to transport between the gates. You need to place multiple gates. He's got one at his base, as you usually see, and then he'll probably get one in the northwest, I would think, later on. A lot of space here for him to put one and keep it out of harm's way. These are infiltrated structures, so you need a detector to spot them unless you get very, very, very close. And the shooters do not have their knob leaders, so no spotters on the field at the moment for the Orks. The Warp Spider Exarch webways allow you to regenerate energy as well, which is useful for this guy because he's very energy intensive, as the teleporting commanders generally are. Sluggers in retreat there. They do get away with a model loss, and tier 2 around about the same time Zensai might go for the quick Death Dread, just march it through the center of the map here and go straight for them gens. But he is against double guarding weapon teams, so he might decide against that, especially when you combine that with the Howling Banshee's Executioner Spear and the Warp Spider Exarch's potential Power Blades, though I don't think we're going to see that. So might go straight for the Weird Boy, slightly safer option I think, and still incredibly powerful and annoying to deal with. Warp Vomit in itself can win you engagements quite handily, especially early in tier 2 when the player's perhaps not expecting the Weird Boy and hasn't set up his army for the engagement. Double shooters getting a Daka going on a power node. That's the contested power. The only there's 2 contested powers. There's no contested wrecks on this map. There's 2 naturals for both players. And here comes the Warboss to decap one. Has he got anything else? He has got his spiky armor, as I said, incredibly popular these days. Gives you that 6 piercing damage every time he is hit in melee combat, and that's an area of effect piercing damage. So it won't just hit the model that hit him, it will hit all of them. So that damage racks up incredibly quickly against the high model, low health melee squads like Howling Banshees. And here comes a war truck for Zensai. Might put his sluggers inside, run up to the gens and try and burn them down. Could go around this way, of course. Although that's very close to the base, so I don't think you can. He'd get hit, but the war truck won't take a lot of damage from base turrets anyway. Shuriken moving up to fire upon the shooters who do have their knob leader, so I wonder if he did spot that webway gate there. It was revealed, but whether he was paying attention to see it, I'm not sure. Howling Banshees with their Exarch, you see her at the front there with her Executioner Spear. She's got a decent amount of health, but does die reasonably often, since Banshees in general aren't that tough. They do have very good tools to keep them alive. You have their fleet, of course, which reduces incoming and outgoing damage. I think it's only incoming range damage that it reduces to, I think. Also gives them amazing mobility in general. Here comes a war truck for a flank, and Ekul spots it and retreats the heck out of there. Sluggers are inside, of course, and it's getting the reinforced plating. So is that going to force Ekul to get a Bright Lance, or is he going to rely on his Banshees to try and tackle this thing? It's going to be risky. If he's faced with the entire Ork army, he's going to need to be careful, and I don't think he wants to go straight after the War Trap with his Banshees. He needs to chase down those sluggers first, and here we see the Burners in action. Taking down the Genesis, he's going to get at least 2 of them, and this Shuriken is caught, and that's a dead Guardian Weapon team. That's a massive loss for Ekul. Sluggers will take it down in retreat. Lots of XP for these guys, almost level 2. And Shooters almost level 2 also. So that was a big loss for Ekul. Needs a plan to deal with this War Truck, and he's making a mistake of going straight after it there. Now turns to engage the Sluggers, but it's too late. And look at these Sluggers go to town on the Howling Banshees, just about getting away with their Knob Leader and swamp them up. They are scary, especially with those Warboss buffs. I think the User Choppers is set to get a nerf in the next update. Is that a Power Blades Warp Spider Exarch? He did go for it in the end then, even though I said he wouldn't. Maybe because he lost that Shuriken, but he goes down trying to take down the War Truck. And he's got their anti-grav grenade, you see that there. Ekul loves to use that. As I was saying, the Sluggers, I think the User Choppers is getting a damage buff reduction, down from 35 to 25% more damage. And the Knob Leader himself is a mean piece of work. 65 power melee DPS on that guy, and like 350 hit points, I think. Also buffs the health of the other members. Takes down the War Truck, nicely done. Repurchases him and goes straight after it. Doesn't want to go down again, and I think he might. Banshees are there to wash out and save him. There we go. Sluggers reinforcing off the War Truck, and the Knob Leader is tanking like crazy. And the Sluggers do get away. Nice grenade. Shooters need to be careful here, trying to focus down those Howling Banshees. And a full retreat from Zensai. As you can see, the Dire Avengers now have their Exarch leader. You see him at the front there with that. What has he got exactly? A chainsword and a shuriken pistol. That guy can leap into combat and disrupt things, which is incredibly annoying. Also gives them embolden, which increases their damage and damage resistance, I believe. And here comes that Warboss. He's pissed off now. Blew up his War Truck. He's got his Bang Bang Hammer, buffing surrounding allied units with each hit. I think it also buffs himself, does it? Pretty nasty melee weapon in its own right. 75 melee DPS, with melee damage of course doing full to all infantry types apart from super heavy, so Terminators and stuff, and it also won't do full to commanders, I'm pretty sure. But heavy infantry like Tactical Marines and Chaos Space Marines really don't like to receive hits from this thing. It's nasty. Storm Boy's on the way. Ekul needs something up here. I don't think he should have kitted out his Warp Spider so heavily. It's a lot of power invested. He's gone for the Entangling Web as well. Wow. Really wants to try and control that Warboss. Another War Truck to deal with also. This could be really bad for Ekul. I thought we was going to get a Falcon or some Warp Spiders. I think both would have done pretty well for him here, but he's gone for kitting out his Warp Spider. Might lose his Guardian Weapon team here. I think he's going to. Those Sluggers are chasing. Gets away with 25 hit points. Yes, does get away. And now here come the Banshees. Base turret's getting the odd shot in here, but there's Ard Boys on the Sluggers, and Ekul spots it and runs off. That's 25% damage resistance from all sources. If you were wondering, by the way, the platform itself with the gun on it doesn't actually have any hit points. It's shared damage, so when you kill the other 4 models, or is it 3 models? The other 3 models, the shuriken will just explode, but if you hit the shuriken itself, the damage will be spread to the other models, and the shuriken itself has heavy infantry armor, but has no health. It's one of those weird Dawn of War 2 mechanics that confuses new players. 296, 182, 1-to-1 cap, power harass from Ekul, switching to his power blades to melee down his generators, I assume. Got an enhanced warp jump generator, but it basically buffs his teleports, and he hasn't got a web egg up here yet. Warboss on capping duty. He's decapped and completely bashed this power. Ekul in a bad spot. Zensai needs to not get caught chasing Ekul around the map, I think. If he can keep focused, try and keep his power locked down, keep an eye on the VPs, but don't get distracted by those either. Just keep the pressure on Ekul. And look at this, Power Blade's going after the War Truck. Needs to be careful with this as well. How much damage does this? It doesn't tell me. I assumed it was around 50 DPS. Well, I could be wrong. It might be 60 something. He's going to go down again anyway. Is he? Yes, I think that's the third time he's gone down. Might be the fourth. It looks like he doesn't know there's a webway gate here. I guess he didn't. Oh, maybe he does. He's going after it. Look. Is he? He's trying to find it. Maybe. Need to get really close to infiltrated stuff to see it with regular units. You need something called keen sight to spot infiltrated stuff. Something like Rangers have very, very good keen sight, very long keen sight. But regular units have pitiful keen sight. And as you can see, the Warboss cannot see this webway. Getting very frustrated over there. 295, 143. Level 3 with 13, 17 hit points. That's not bad at all considering the spiky armor's health regeneration as well. Here come Howling Banshees. Risky engagement for the Warboss. Does not go after the Shuriken. And here's some Warp Spiders for Ekul. Wonder if he called those guys in. He might have. And a Wraith Lord, I should say. Very strong response from Ekul. But Zensai, look at this, goes tier 3. I haven't seen these Storm Boys in action. What are they up to? Here they are. Jump troops with power melee weapons. They really are a powerful offensive unit. Kind of a glass cannon in tier 1. But once they get their Nobly, they do become a lot tougher. And that guy has heavy melee damage with that nasty looking knife of his. And a big chunk of hit points. So as usual with the Orc squads, their Nob leaders are pretty scary all by themselves. Shooter Nobs are pretty damn good as well. Lots of DPS, piercing DPS to go alongside those big shooters and stuff. Big engagement mid, there's the jump. Ekul, I think that's the first time he saw the Storm Boys. And Entangling Web is going to help greatly if the Warp Spider Exarch wasn't down, of course. 295, 63 is a single cap for Zensai. Looks like he's going to see this game out, you would think. Not sure how Ekul, well, he's got the Wraith Lord coming, here it is. And, well, yeah, this is going to do a lot of damage, isn't it? Because he only has those Storm Boys. He doesn't really want to engage the Wraith Lord with them, I don't think. Because this Wraith Lord has, of course, melee resistance aura. And even when it gets its upgrade, its shoulder mounted ranged weapon, it will still have that melee resistance, which is 40% less damage from all melee attacks. A massive boon to its melee prowess. And across the board change for all melee orientated walkers. And for the Wraith Lord, that's all of its various guises. It's always considered a melee orientated walker because it keeps its splash damage, I suppose. And that massive Ghost Glaive sword is isolated here though, and the Warboss now has the Power Claw, but he's made a mistake. He's put user choppers on his sluggers, and I assume he... oh no, he hasn't. I'm wrong, he has put it on his Storm Boys. I thought it was on his sluggers there for a second. Storm Boys jumping the Shuriken, running into Banshees. That's risky for them. War Truck is there to support, and they do get away. Good, that was a good choice though from Zensai to jump that Shuriken, I think. Shuriken goes down. Sluggers will also go down, I think. Banshees suppressed by the Shooter Boys. Really fun engagement to watch. And the Banshees just about get away, and down goes the War Truck. Oh, that was a Warp Spider. I can't even see him without his indicator there in the fog. But he took it down with his Power Blades. And a Wraith Lord causing havoc. But looks like it's going to survive. Warboss not happy with that. His Power Claw, 95 DPS, heavy melee. And you do half of your damage, half of your heavy melee damage gets through to vehicles. And then it's of course 40% less because of that melee resistance. So, yeah. Should have got some tank busters out instead, I think. But we'll see. One more hit and this Warboss is going to go down. Bang, down it goes. 295, 48. Turning point for Ekul, is it? Shooter Boys unable to do a whole lot with their piercing weapons, so they are shooting up these Warp Spiders instead. Zensai is tier 3, but he drained a lot of wreck reinforcing his stuff off that War Truck in that big engagement there. And he's going to end up losing mid, and Ekul can push off from this. Needs to repair his Wraith Lord and maybe get away. That is some weird pathing right there. Not sure what's going on there, but yep, they get away. And the Sluggers in retreat. Level 3, these guys. What are the Banshees there? Wow, a whisker away from level 4. 130 energy as well, which is important for them with their fleet and their washout. Warp Spider Exarch has switched back to his entangling web, though Web Gate has been spotted and taken down, and he hasn't put up any others. I thought we were going to see an Ork dropped in that big engagement. I was waiting for it, but we didn't see it. Especially when those Storm Boys retreated out. There's that, what's it called again? Anti-grav grenade, which does that. It's control ability, very nasty. Combine it with grenades or just running your Banshees in, and he teleports out and he's okay. Warboss is down. You need to spend rec to get your commanders back on the field. They are considered incapacitated, not dead, as you can see they twitch and stuff, which is pretty cool. Double cap for Ekul. Can he hold on? He's got the map control abilities with his commander by himself. He can do a lot, and with webways and stuff, of course. Avengers following around this Wraith Lord and trying to repair. I'm going to assume Zensei is going to go for a Nob Squad, but you never know. Might go for a looted tank. Riskier option, I think, maybe because of this Warp Spider with his power players getting on rear arm and Banshees running in. It's not always easy to control tanks, especially on stairs and ramps and stuff. 220, 23, there's the triple cap for Ekul, but Zensei sees to that with his shooters. Banshees, or I should say Dire Avengers in retreat there. Wraith Lord continues to be a massive pain in the arse. I assume this is a garrisonable structure, but we haven't seen anyone go inside it. Doesn't actually have one of his shoulder mounted weapons, which just goes to show you don't need to upgrade this guy for him to be a massive pain in the arse. Ekul has no requisition whatsoever. Gonna get one more hit on these shooters as they retreat. Bang, you see that big splash damage hit. How much damage does this guy do? I think he does slightly less damage than the Dreadnoughts with their 100 DPS. I think he does, but I'm not sure on that. Someone can check the codex and let us know in the comments. Running Banshees decapping the fully matured rec point, and this one's already decapped, so Zensei needs to get back on his backing cap, but he's in that kind of situation when you're thinking of VPs a lot, and he might keep his Storm Boys over there to cap this VP and jump on anyone who tries to cap it. Might be a good choice, and he's got a Nob Squad on the field using their frenzy immediately to make them immune to damage and get this decap. These guys are heavy melee damage, elite melee unit. They can go toe to toe with anything in the game, especially when they're fully upgraded, but that makes them incredibly expensive, basically on par with the cost of a tier 3 super unit from the other factions. And with this melee resistance aura on the Wraith Lord and a shoulder mounted shuriken, he's going to put up a fight, and he's almost level 3. Can he get one more model on level? He levels anyway to level 3 and a little bit of XP there. Something else must have died for him to level, I assume. Somewhere else on the map that he hit ages ago. XP is shared between all of the units that did damage based on how much damage they did. So you can often see units that aren't even in combat level up because something else they did damage to died earlier on, and even incapacitated commanders can level up. 11823, single cap for Ekul, and he's looking quite good here. I don't think Zensei can deal with what he's bringing. He's got the Warp Spiders, he's got the level 4 Howling Banshees, level 2 Warp Spiders, and a level 3 Wraith Lord. This thing is scary. 1452 hit points. This guy can also get a self-heal in tier 3. That's pretty cool. Shuts himself down and heals up, much like the Wraith Guard. Nob Squad getting their hammers. I would have held off on that. Look how expensive that is. I would have held off on it and tried to get another Nob Squad up a bit earlier. He already has the power. He's trying to decap here. 9423. I probably would have gone for a looted tank afterwards. Did he lose a model there? He did lose a model there. He decaps and flees. Just avoid the middle. Avoid the middle. Come to the flanks. Cap the flanks. Oh, he's lost his Storm Boys. What the heck happened? Completely missed that. What a noob. Nobs in the mid trying to fight everything, but there's Entangling Web, which is a very hard counter for these guys. But it's worn off now. Boom. Special attack from the Wraith Lord. sends them flying out. 2 knobs go down, including the leader. And that's it, I think, for Zensai. He's going to spend all of his resources just reinforcing those guys. And Ekul can get a falcon out or something to support his troops. Zensai not happy. That Wraith Lord just did him in. This thing was the whole game. Went for the Power Claw Warboss, which I think was a mistake. Not nearly as effective as it was against melee walkers, and that's the same for commander heavy melee weapons in general. Could have got those tank busters out. I think would have been a lot better. Double tank busters or something, maybe even 1 tank buster with those Storm Boys buffed by elusive choppers would have been enough. But he went tier 3 alongside that Power Claw, went for the knobs, and Entangling Web is dealing with those guys quite handily alongside the Wraith Lord pummeling them. Tier 3 for Ekul. He's got an Eldritch Storm if he needs it. It's shooters versus banshees. Not a good fight for these shooters, but they do get away somehow. 15 hit points with Odd Boys on them, level 4. Banshees just want a cap here. 91-9. Ekul is cutting it close. I'm speaking like he's going to win. 1-to-1 cap. Zensai's not completely out of it. There's user choppers. Well, look how much damage he's doing to the Wraith Lord. Pitiful amount. Wow, and that's level 4 Warboss with Power Claw buffed with user choppers. You see the power of melee resistance right there. 98. That's a 2-to-1 cap for Ekul. Nob squad with that momentum buff of their hammers is not enough. Here come sluggers for the flank, going after Dire Avengers. Has Ekul spotted this? Yes, he has. They fleet away and use Embolden. There's a 2-to-1 still. Sluggers still chasing around his Dire Avengers, almost finishing them off. Only the Exarch remaining. Those Sluggers doing incredibly well. How much hit points do they have? 16. 33 at level 3. That's not bad at all. Now the Dire Avenger, well, the Exarch himself can repair the Wraith Lord. Shooters keeping the pressure up on the rep points. They can turn and engage the Warp Spider. Are they? What level is this guy? Level 7. Good grief. Another webway over here. Banshee's ready to hop in. And I was very surprised they didn't put another one here. They're only 50 red. Psychic Might, I think it's called for Eldar. We'll put one mid as well over here somewhere. Maybe. Shooters coming to this southeast VP, but they're going to meet Howling Banshees. Not going to be good for them. They can suppress them momentarily, but it's not going to be enough. There's the decap. Ekul has not noticed. 45-8. Here comes the Warboss. That's going to even that fight up because he's got that spiky armor. Shooter boys leveling to 4 here. Can they take down this Warp Spider Exarch? 42-8. Kicking off over in the southeast. Banshee's going after the shooters. Warboss in turn following them. Smack. That hit the Exarch, I'm pretty sure. And they do get away. They are trying to chase like crazy. Has he forgotten about them? He does turn around. Doesn't want to fight that Warboss who's going to go after that VP. Here are Warp Spiders. And with their teleport they can be annoying. He's going to try and capture them. 42-8. Eldritch Storm on capping sluggers, I think. Or rather decapping sluggers. And Wraith Lord versus Knobs. Knobs now have him, but he's using his Wraithbone. Not sure how much this upgrade costs. There's the heal over, and they go after the repairing Dire Avengers. I would have stayed on the Wraith Lord there. Is he going to turn and finish this guy off? Does he have any Warboss buffs? He's got 90 red, so he has enough for them. They might be on cooldown. There's the Odd Boys. Can he finish off this Wraith Lord? Ouch, he loses another model. Can't quite do it. One of those games where you never quite have what you need in the right place to deal with a threat, and his Wraith Lord is now level 4 and he has minced many orcs. 31-8. It's close. Zensai's not out of it yet. Could get a looted tank on the field very soon. Does he have the time to get it on the field though? Oh, Warboss went down. I assume, like me, he was focused on mid and it's got shot down. He did get some waxing on his Warp Spider. They lost 2 models. Shooters behind the heavy cover of those sandbags. though this barbed wire is only light cover, so you need to be careful with your positioning there. Sluggers forcing off the Banshees. They've done so well in this game. So have the Sluggers, though, to be fair. 16-8, there's the double cap for Ekul, and surely the victory. Warp Spiders will keep an eye on this. Note they're going back to reinforce and get straight over there instantly, of course. And there's the cap, the double cap in fact, that gives Ekul the game. A fun 1v1. Zensai, I think, shouldn't have got that power core. As I said, the Wraith Lord was a massive roadblock for him to overcome, and he just couldn't manage it even with knobs on the field, which drained his economy with all their losses. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.